Today, on Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat, the paint crew at MCU adds some custom touches on Tyler's 32-foot Seacraft project.
I'm pulling Robbie out of the detail shop. I want the non-skid in this boat to be really sharp, and he's got a really good eye for putting down the lines for the tape.
FS Boating editor Dave East heads out with Frank Hayden to discuss the customization of his 32-foot Intrepid, designed with family fishing and cruising in mind.
To have a boat that you cruise and you spend time on the water, because not every day you want to fish. Sometimes you want to just go out and cruise and enjoy yourself.
And MCU's gel coat specialist attempts to make a perfect color match to repair a damaged hull.
It's more cost effective for us to just start off and have me match the color, custom.
All coming up on Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat.
All right, so Tyler Gorman's 32 Seacrafts are really coming out nice. I knew the paint guys were gonna have their work cut out for them doing this paint job after all the custom modifications like the forward seating. And really guys, at the end of the day when this thing got painted, it came out beautiful. Mike and Jim did a great job fairing everything in. Now we've got to get this thing inside the spray booth and get ready for some non-skid. I'm pulling Robbie out of the detail shop because he's really detail oriented and he's got a really good eye for putting down the lines for the tape. I want the non-skid in this boat to be really sharp. I was speaking to Kat, Tyler's wife, about putting a little bit of color in a non-skid. Tyler doesn't even know we're gonna do it. So this will be a great surprise for him.
I run the detail shop here at MCU, and I have a lot of background experience in doing body work and paint work, so when we got a deadline to keep in the booth, I'm the guy they call in to help get it done. This time we're working on a 32 Seacraft for Tyler. And he really wants his boat for the summer, so we're gonna do our best to get him in the boat. And so we're gonna get the non-skid sprayed. It's pretty standard. Each boat's a little bit different. Our standard border is usually about 1/2 inch. That's pretty common. It's nice, it gives you a nice gloss look and breaks up all the non-skid. So it's not all too uniform, man. It gives it a little flash. Normal tape you can't bend or stretch. The fine line tape, it's real good tape. It doesn't stick, doesn't leave the glue behind when you pull it back up if you got to leave it on for a couple days. It's way more versatile and easier to work with, especially when you're in a hurry. We're always on a deadline. So whatever makes the job fast and easy for us, that's what we try to do. We roll all our corners. Instead of having a sharp corner, we'll roll our edges. That's where the washer comes in handy. We put the washer up to meets the tape, you trace around it and cut it out, and you have a perfect radius. And so when the non-skid gets sprayed, you pull the tape, everything rolls and flows nice through the boat. When we go around a latch, to keep it uniform, we use another washer, and we use the pencil inside the washer and trace around the latch to keep a nice, even, smooth, perfect line. And then that we can tape on. Maybe not everyone uses that style. Some people try to do freehand, but when we're critical jobs, we want it to be perfect. And that's the only way to get it perfect. The non-skid does get everywhere, so anything you don't want non-skid, you have to tape up. We cover our hinges, the latches, because we have to put everything in place on the boat so we can get all our right radiuses and distances. So all that stuff has to be assembled, put in place, so you can tape it off and make sure everything looks perfect when you're done. I love doing detail work, which is mainly what I do, and I like the finished product. So something looks brand new, looks perfect, and you can say you take pride in your work. Be like, man, that looks awesome. I had a hand in that. And we have our pride here at MCU. Treat every boat like it's our own. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. Who knows? Tomorrow I might be in the upholstery shop helping Vic again on another emergency.
When we come to doing the non-skid, a lot of the custom colors we put into it, Brian likes to tweak them and turn them, and they come out phenomenal. It's all custom, nobody else has got it, it's a one-off boat. On this particular boat, it was a blue tone white hull with a cloud white topside. And usually we'll take the color of the hull and we'll kind of play with it, get a little tint of that color. When it comes to mixing it, it's really kind of just by eye and what we think's gonna look good. I mean, when we go back there, I have both cans sitting there and we just pour in the amount of white we think we're gonna need for the non-skid job, start pouring in whatever color it is, this one being the blue tone white, so we got that subtle hint of blue. So when it comes down to actually doing the skid, I'll use a little bit of fine and a little bit of coarse, and I kind of do a 50-50 mixture. I like the stopping power of the coarse when you got fish guts on the floor and your boat's soaking wet, you're not sliding all over the place. I put the fine in there to kind of fill in some of the holes to where it's a little bit more even pattern. So when it comes to doing the non-skid, obviously I'm not using the same tip that I would with doing a gloss finish. When you're doing the non-skid, you're going a little bit bigger tip to where you can actually get the skid out of it. When I'm spraying non-skid, especially on a boat this size, you can't get close to it once you've sprayed it once. You know, I'll go into the front and I'll lay some paper down and I'll start spraying back. The reason I lay the paper down is you don't have footprints walking back. It kind of blocks the overspray coming back on you. Once I've wet the whole floor down and I know I've got a solid color on there, I'll turn the pressure down, I'll open the gun up, and I'll just let it kind of snow down to where it gives you that solid, smooth finish where you don't see where it start and stops are. So now the boat's dried. I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna start unbagging it. I kind of like that because it's like unwrapping another kid's Christmas present. You never really know what you're gonna have with these one-off custom paint jobs. I'm the first one that gets to see it. And this one in particular turned out really nice.
When we come back, the paint crew at MCU adds some truly custom touches to the 32-foot Seacraft project. This segment brought to you by Bennett Marine, superior by design.
50 years ago, Bennett Marine changed boating forever, inventing the trim tab, getting you on plane faster, improving fuel efficiency and performance, balancing loads. Today, more than 1 million systems later worldwide, boats all sizes. Bennett Innovation, durable and dependable trim tabs and hatch lifters. Your only source for both hydraulic and electric systems. Bennett Trim Tabs, superior by design, legendary service. Enjoy the ride.
Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat. Join us as the paint crew at MCU gives the 32-foot Seacraft project a truly custom look and feel.
All right, so just as I figured, that light addition of the blue and the cloud white, the two-tone came out awesome. The guys did a great job spraying it. Robbie did an awesome job laying it out. Now that we're done with all the non-skid, we can move into the hard top and the aluminum fabrication work that we did. It's totally custom on this boat. This hard top is really neat. He's got some nice features. This thing's gonna be really nice when it's all two-tone painted out. We're gonna do this aluminum work also with a two-tone. We're not sticking with standard anodizing on the aluminum. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna etch and allodyne all this metal work, and we're gonna paint it with all grip. That's gonna be really, really neat, and it's gonna be a nice touch at the end of the day with this boat with all the extra two-tone that goes on.
All right, so we just got the 32 Seacraft hardtop in our bay. Majority of the major bodywork was done at that point. So all we really had to do was start prepping it out to get ready for high build. High build's a primer that's meant for filling major deviations in the bodywork, sand scratches, minor pinholes, things like that. So this primer is going to be really thick, so when you start mixing it up, you're going to notice it's going to be thick. You're going to want like a 1/8 nozzle to spray that at minimum. There's going to be no reduction in there unless you're really having a hard time getting it to flow. You could reduce it a little bit, but it's meant to be sprayed non-reduced. So you can fill in a lot of voids and deviations that you may have in the bodywork. The hardtop at this point is high build. I'm going to move on to doing the T-top. I'm going to pull it in and I'm going to start sanding on it with 320 because we're going to paint it the color of the boat. So this T-top happens to be anodized, which is save some steps. If it was bare aluminum, which a lot of builders build their tops bare aluminum, which is fine too, you'd have to acid wash it down, clean it, zinc chromate prime it, and then you're able to paint. Being that it's anodized, anodizing is a really good foundation to start from. This one we didn't really have any problems. There were a couple nicks here or there that we had to sand down and zinc prime. So now that we got that taken care of, we're able to wipe it down, get it prepped and ready to spray. It's the same process as if you're spraying the side of the boat or a gunnel or whatever that you may be spraying, except it's round bar, round tube. So it's You just gotta pay attention on where you're at, stopping and going wise, because sometimes it's easy to get lost in where you're at, especially if you have, that one wasn't that bad, but some of these T-tops, you have a lot of bars and reinforcements and things like that you gotta work around. Getting the gun in there, sometimes it's a little tricky, so you just gotta take your time and just methodically move through it. The only thing that we got left to do on this thing at this point really is the spray to hardtop. I think Mike's gonna take care of that. We gotta do the white border on it, and then we're gonna do the matte blue tone white on the bottom, and then non-skid on the top.
Jim went ahead and got the hardtop and the final primer. We're ready for paint on this thing. Went ahead and did the gloss edge on the outer side of it, and I did the top side. We're gonna go ahead and do a satin finish on the bottom, and we're gonna do the non-skid on top. So we're only doing certain areas of gloss. All right, so now we got the gloss on the hardtop. We're ready to do the satin finish on bottom and the non-skid. Whenever you're doing a satin finish, or even a matte finish for that matter, it's not like your normal paint where it's like a 2-to-1, 25%. When you're doing a satin or a matte finish, they make a flattening agent. Now on this particular one with a satin finish, we actually wound up going a 2-to-1 to 1-to-1. I got a light system for my new gun. I decided what better way to try it out than underneath the hardtop. You really don't have a whole lot of light underneath it. You can't really see what you're doing. It's kind of just flying by memory. Went ahead and put that on the gun, and boy, what a difference. I mean, you can see everything you're doing. You can know where you're at, how far you've gone, if you've got too much paint or not enough. It really, I think, helped did the job out and made it lay down perfect. It's got to be done the right way, because you can't, like on a gloss hull, if you sprayed the hull and it had some dirt or whatever, you can sit there and DA it and buff it and polish it, and it looks great. But with a satin or matte, you start doing that, you destroy the finish. So when we did this hardtop, I had a visqueen across the front trying to protect as much dirt from getting into it as possible. All right, we got the satin done. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bag off the outer edge so I can go ahead and lay down the non-skid. The main reason we do the non-skid on the top is you guys remember, once the boat's done, trying to climb up on there with a gloss sheen, if it's wet or rain starts dropping, whatever, you're gonna slip, fall, and fall right off the boat. I mean, it gives you that classy look with it being all gloss and pretty, but if you've got a radar arch up there or a second station or something to that factor where you're going up a lot, you wanna have that non-skid. I think it turned out really nice. I think the owner will be really happy with it.
When we return, FS Boating editor Dave East meets with Frank Hayden to discuss the customization of his 32-foot Intrepid. This segment brought to you by Fiberglass Florida. Premium products, wholesale prices.
Fiberglass Florida is a locally owned and operated company with locations in Rockledge and Stuart, Florida. Our knowledgeable staff will help you select from our diverse selection of fiberglass materials by the yard or by the roll. Epoxy, vinyl ester, and polyester resin, as well as high-density core materials. All grip paint in unlimited custom colors. Home to Open Water Concepts, a certified sea-deck fabricator specializing in fully customizable kits to suit your project needs. Fiberglass Florida. Premium products, wholesale prices.
Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat. Join us during this one-man's Dreamboat ride-along, where we feature boats and their owners whose dreams have already become reality. FS Boating editor Dave East meets with Frank Hayden to discuss the customization of his 32-foot Intrepid, designed for cruising and fishing in style.
Frank, thank you so much for inviting me out on your Intrepid. It's really neat because so many of the boats that we look at are, made for fishing. And not that you can't fish off of Intrepid. Trust me, plenty of fish have died because of Intrepids. But to have a boat that you cruise and you spend time on the water, because not every day you want to fish. Sometimes you want to just go out and cruise and enjoy yourself. And the way you've got this boat put together is perfect for that. Tell me about the boat, its history, and how you came about it.
Okay, yeah, I've always wanted an Intrepid, and I like this size. Brian found the boat in Miami, and he towed it up for me. And we went through it and decided that it didn't need a whole lot. It needed power, electronics, and a new top.
I see you've got a pair of 300 horsepower four-stroke Yamahas. What did it used to have on it for power?
It had two old Mercury 225 two-strokes, 2001s.
Right.
And this is a big part of mine, Dave. I've had Yamahas on almost all my boats, and I really like the four-strokes. And we discussed the power requirements, and we went from 450, of course, on the hull up to 600.
Right.
It's made quite a difference. They've been extremely reliable, and it's great. It's been a real nice addition to the boat. They're one, my favorite engine.
On the upholstery, you said the boat was all white when you got it?
It was all white, and I really like the kind of finishing touches, the little splashes of color. I think it just livens up the boat, sparks it, gives it a nice look. It's a great boat to look at. It's kind of a little show boat, and the stereo's been great. He's got a nice amplifier in there. The whole boat rocks when even at full speed. You can hear the stereo loud and clear. Okay, come here. Come
I met Nancy, but there's another member of your family. Come up. That the boat is just as important for her.
Yes, she's our little dog. She loves the boat. She waits for us to put in the water at the house. If she sees it going down the lift, you can't move her. She sits, jumps right in it, and she loves it. It's a great ride for her. It's comfortable. She jumps off the back swim platform, and we keep her in harness. So she actually even mastered the ladder back there, Dave. She comes up the ladder.
So basically, this is her boat. You're just a taxi driver.
That's right. Big taxi driver. Yep, exactly.
Well, your cockpit certainly has a lot of room back here, but I'm really anxious to see what you did in that helm area with your electronics. So take me forward and show me what you did with your electronics.
Sure, love to.
Well, it looks like you didn't change it drastically. You've got some more acrylic on here and obviously the new electronics. So tell me what it used to be as to what it is now.
Yeah, you're right, Dave. We didn't do a man with rebuild the area, just kind of brought it up, made it more modern. So we went with a new Garmin here, new radio, of course, new controls. All the Yamaha's brand new. And then we put a backup Garmin up here. He kind of rebuilt the box, gave me a little bit of storage, and kind of set the radios. We don't have anything hanging and in your way. We did new isinglass. Other than that, we kind of left everything where it was positioned in the old Intrepid. This is the Intrepid panel. We didn't touch that. We put the controls where they were, brand new.
What I like about this model, just by looking at it, is you do a lot of cruising. You fish a little bit from what you were saying, but you really like cruising on the water, and the front of this boat is really set up for that. Let's look at that area.
Yep.
You know what, Frank? I'm not sure that I don't like this area up here better than the cockpit in the back.
I think, well, my wife does. She's here all the time. And that's what we liked about this. It was fairly roomy, and we redid the upholstery. Didn't change anything else up here. It's great for sitting out at the sandbar like we're doing, having a couple drinks, having some appetizers. It's roomy, sits 5-6 people comfortably. It's great. Cuddy's got some bunks in there. It's got a head. It's got plenty of storage. Nice and room. It's dry. You can sleep here if you wanted. It's good for a couple nights. It's plenty of room in there. And it's just for, I think for a 32, 33-foot boat, this has got a lot of room in it.
Well, from what I'm seeing is, you took the boat, you made it your own, you didn't go crazy with it, you did the things that needed to be done, the things that were important, but you didn't go overboard, and it saved you, what, $150,000?
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty substantial. That's a lot of fuel in the tank. I think you have the best of both worlds right here. You have the boat that you wanted. It's going to be super dependable and reliable. Obviously very comfortable, but you did a lot. You did save yourself a lot of money in the process.
Yeah, and it's exactly what we wanted. So it worked out well.
With an initial purchase cost of $60,000, after adding $85,000 in custom modifications at MCU, the cost of Frank's Dreamboat comes to a total of $145,000. When we return, the crew at MCU makes a gel coat match and repair on a damaged hull. This segment brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
Yamaha's next generation V6 4-strokes are changing the game.
Mid-range power was awesome.
Fuel, the burn, it's unbelievable.
Couldn't believe the speed and the fuel economy is pretty impressive.
I couldn't believe the power. It was like it was more like doing a quarter mile on a drag strip.
And them things are like, it's a whole nother game. So I made the switch.
Experience the difference for yourself during the Yamaha Discover V6 Offshore Demo Tour. See why we call it the game changer.
Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat. Join us as the crew at MCU makes a gel coat match and repair on a damaged hull.
All right, so we had a Seabourn little bay boat come in the shop today. It's coming in for like a minor gel coat repair. It's not the end of the world, accidents happen. So Mike's been doing these gel coat blends for quite some time now. He actually worked for a shop prior to working for me, and he learned a couple techniques that he's gonna implement today to get this repair done pretty quick so that these people can get back out in the water and start enjoying this boat instead of being nervous about the scratch inside of it.
All right, so we got this boat in. It's got a little gouge down the side. Pretty new boat. The owner wants it to look pretty pristine when it's done. When it comes to the gel coat repairs, I mean, you could go ahead and call the company and have them ship you the paint. But the problem with gel coat is the day it's sprayed, it starts to fade as soon as it hits the sun. Getting it from the factory, you're gonna spend a lot of money doing that. It's more cost effective for us to just start off and have me match the color, custom. I started off with a white base. I try to get the whitest white gel coat I possibly can get, because unless you know exactly what gel coat the company used and what their tints were, it's really hard to match it. This one in particular, I do not like the pastel colors. The light blues, the light yellows, they're nightmares to match. They fade really fast, and it's really hard to get a brand new gel coat to match to that kind of color. When it comes to the color matching, the biggest thing you have to remember is going back to like kindergarten, your color wheel. What colors are gonna change from side to side? I started off with the blues. I've got 3 different tints of blues. So I start getting the color close to what I need, but I need to start adding a little red, a little yellow to really fine tune it in. Every time I drop a little tint in, I'll put a switch on the boat and try to see where I'm at. I use the tape to kind of really flatten everything out to really get a good look at what I'm gonna have. It gives me a nice shine, even shine between what the boat is to what I'm mixing. A lot of thought goes into what tint I'm gonna use next, because if you put the wrong tint in, you throw it all off and that whole batch is garbage. You gotta start back over from scratch. Once I feel that I've got it matched as good as I'm gonna get it, I'll go ahead and I'll start doing the body work. I did a little polyester wipe and I wiped it down clean. It was a little low, so I went ahead and put a Bondo wipe over it. All I did was I just filled in any little lows or any imperfections, sanded it all down flat, made sure it was perfect. So now that the body work's done, I'm ready to go ahead and spray the gel coat. I'll go ahead and 220 out around the edges. You really don't want to go anything lighter than 220 because the gel coat just won't grab. It's not like paint. It will do a mechanical bond, but it won't do a chemical bond. So I went ahead and I 220'd everything out and I reverse tape. The reason I reverse tape is if you just tape it regularly, you'll get a hard line. Trying to block a hard line out is a nightmare. Spraying is pretty much the same thing. It won't lay down smooth gloss like a paint. It's always a little texturing, but it's the same concept. You know, you reduce it out a little bit, you catalyze it, and then you spray. Now that we're done spraying it, I'll take a wet sand and then I'll start buffing. You're never even gonna know it actually happened. It turned out beautiful.
Next time on Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat. The experts at MCU race against the clock, beginning the rigging process on the 32-foot Seacraft project. FS Boating editor Dave East meets with Royce Brooker to discuss the customization of his 16-foot Hobie Power skiff, designed for fishing in the skinniest of water.